And now, if I may, it's a great pleasure for me to introduce the two members of Congress who are here today. And I'm very grateful to them for being willing to come over to this House and give us their testimony. I'll begin with a friend and colleague from California, Congressman John Garamendi. He's represented California's 10th district since November of 2009. He previously served as Lieutenant Governor of California and in the California legislature, also as Insurance Commissioner of the state, which was when I first met him. On December 16, 2011, he introduced the companion version of the Due Process Guarantee Act in the House of Representatives. I will also introduce at this time, if I may, Representative Jeff Landry. He was elected in 2010 to represent Louisiana's 3rd District. Representative Landry is a veteran of Operation Desert Storm and has also served as a sheriff's deputy and police officer in Louisiana. On December 15, 2011, he introduced legislation in the House of Representatives to ensure that United States citizens could not be detained indefinitely with all the rights of due process afforded to them. I'm grateful to you both. And Congressman Garamendi, if you would begin.
Thank you very much, Senator Feinstein.
I would ask you to, if you can, I know this is difficult, clearly I could not, confine your remarks to as close as 5 minutes as you can. If you can't, that's all right.
I intend to do so, and we were instructed earlier to accomplish that. But I thank you very much, and Senator Grassley and other members of the committee for the pleasure as well as the honor of being here. I really appreciated your testimony and your statement, Senator Feinstein. It laid out the problem very, very clearly, and your leadership on this is much appreciated, certainly by me and I think by most Americans. The Due Process Guarantee Act, both on the Senate and the House side, provides clarity in an area where Congress and the American people cannot afford to have ambiguity. Congress, as the maker of this nation's laws, must always tread carefully when the fundamental rights enshrined in our Constitution are at issue, and we must leave no uncertainty when it comes to the rights of the American people. We must clarify the existing law to guarantee that due process rights for every American are protected. It's a foundational principle of our great nation that we are all innocent until proven guilty and that we deserve a fair trial. The fiscal year 2012 National Defense Authorization Act came too close to infringing on those rights. It's certainly not a perfect piece of legislation, but it was a must-pass and provided the tools that our military needs to get the job done. There's much that was necessary in the NDAA, pay increases for our troops, TRICARE, as well as the necessary authorization for our troops. Now, more than a decade has passed from that horrible event of September 11. Terrorists are behind bars and dangerous plots have been thwarted. The world knows that America will no longer tolerate safe havens for al-Qaeda or any other terrorist group, and we don't need to sacrifice our civil liberties and subvert our Constitution for that security. Unfortunately, the NDAA came too close to doing just that. Before and after the passage of the Defense Authorization Act, there was concern among members of Congress and people from all walks of life, including the military, law enforcement community, and others, that the language in the bill left open the possibility that U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents could be indefinitely detained without charge or trial. President Obama, the Secretary of Defense, directors of the CIA, FBI, along with the chairman who leads the Senate Intelligence Committee, I think she's here at the moment, all opposed the indefinite detention. Those who receive the most up-to-date information on intelligence sit at the highest levels of government, some of whom serve both Democrats and Republicans, all believed that we do not need this policy to keep us safe. President Obama was so concerned with the language in the NDAA that he wrote a presidential signing statement about the detainee provisions, stating, "I want to clarify that my administration will not authorize the indefinite military detention without trial of American citizens. Indeed, I believe doing so would break with our most important traditions and values as a nation. My administration will interpret Section 1021 in a manner that ensures that any detention it authorizes complies with the Constitution, the laws of wars, and other applicable laws. We just heard a furtherance of that earlier in the testimony before this committee and the statement from the President. While I take President Obama at his word, subsequent administrations will not be bound by this signing statement. The law itself must be absolutely clear, and that's why I chose to introduce the Detention Act in the House. This bill states unequivocally that the United States cannot indefinitely detain American citizens. It amends the Non-Detention Act of 1971, as does yours, Senator Feinstein, by providing congressional authorization to use force. That does not authorize indefinite detention without trial or charge of a U.S. citizen or permanent legal resident who are apprehended domestically. In addition to the authorization to use force, the bill also states that a declaration of war or similar act by the executive or Congress does not abridge this right. The bill codifies the clear statement rules and requires that Congress to expressly authorize detention authority when it comes to U.S. citizens or lawful residents. Hopefully that will never happen. I'll let it go at that, Senator. I do want to thank you and the members of this committee, and particularly your leadership, Senator Feinstein, on this issue. When I heard of your leadership, I said, let's do it in the House, and it turns out that we're doing it bipartisan. 62 members of the House, Democrat and Republican, have signed on to my bill, and you'll hear Mr. Landry, I think, with the exact same number on his side. We need to solve this problem. We thank you for your leadership.
Thank you very much, Congressman Garamendi. Congressman Landry, I'd like to welcome you to this